When a man secretly develops deep feelings for you, his attention transforms. It's no longer scattered or surface level. It becomes intentional, almost sacred. You'll notice it not because he says grand words, but because his focus lands on you in quiet, consistent ways. When you speak, he listens in a way that makes you feel like the only person in the room. He remembers the small things most people overlook, the way you take your coffee, that story you told once about your childhood, the kind of music that calms you when you've had a long day. This isn't a strategy, it's instinct. His mind starts collecting details about you because everything about you feels significant. Most people listen to reply, but when a man is falling for you, he listens to understand. He's not trying to impress you with his response or turn the conversation toward himself. He wants to know you, how you think, what you feel, and why you are the way you are. That's the first sign of deep emotional investment. His curiosity about you is not casual, it's consistent, and it grows. He's no longer just hearing your words, he's paying attention to what's behind them. He notices the tone in your voice when something excites you and the subtle pause when something hurts. You might also notice how he remembers moments you've forgotten. Maybe you mentioned a small problem once, and days later he brings it up. Not to pry, but because he genuinely cares about whether it resolved. That's the difference between attraction and affection. Attraction makes someone notice you. Affection makes them remember you. His effort becomes invisible yet meaningful. He texts at the right moments, checks in without being intrusive, or brings up something you said weeks ago because it mattered to him. Attention is how love first whispers before it speaks. When a man's feelings deepen, he doesn't need to announce them loudly. You'll feel it in how tuned in he becomes to your world. His focus narrows. The noise of everything else fades, and he starts building small bridges between his life and yours. He begins aligning plans around your availability without you asking. If you mention you're busy or tired, he respects that. If you share a goal, he encourages it. That's what intentional attention looks like. It's not clingy or desperate. It's thoughtful and balanced. There's also a subtle shift in the way he communicates. His texts stop being random check-ins and start having emotional substance. He asks deeper questions, ones that make you reflect. He's trying to see not just what you do, but who you are beneath the surface. That's because when a man feels something real, his attraction expands beyond the physical. He starts to fall for your inner world, the way you see things, the things that move you, the things that scare you. And here's what's fascinating. Men often reveal this not through words, but through presence. His consistency becomes the language of his affection. He shows up, he follows through, he remembers. Even when he's busy, you can feel his attention anchored somewhere near you. That's because genuine emotion makes space. No matter how full his schedule is, he'll find a moment to make you feel acknowledged. So when you notice a man who remembers what you said in passing, who listens with his whole body, who notices changes in your mood before you mention them, that's not just good manners. That's a man who's emotionally invested but not ready to confess it yet. His attention is his way of protecting his feelings while still letting them breathe. He may not say, "I care about you," directly, but everything in his behavior will echo it. His attention becomes his quiet confession, the kind that doesn't need to be spoken for you to feel its truth. When a man begins to develop deep feelings for you, something changes in the way he moves around your emotions. He becomes more protective, not in a possessive or controlling way, but in the sense that he genuinely cares about how you feel. His focus shifts from trying to impress you to wanting to create a space where you feel safe, understood, and valued. It's not about grand gestures or promises, it's about the subtle ways he guards your emotional comfort. He becomes mindful of how his actions affect you. If he senses that something he said made you uncomfortable, he'll take responsibility and try to fix it. He starts to filter his words through a lens of care, because your peace matters more to him than being right. When a man feels something real, he doesn't want to be the reason for your tears. He wants to be the person who brings you calm after chaos. You can see it in the way he reacts to your vulnerability. If you share something painful, he doesn't minimize it or rush to give advice. He listens. He lets you be emotional without making you feel dramatic. That's emotional protection. When someone allows you to feel, to process, and to exist without judgment. His concern isn't performative, it's grounded in empathy. You start to notice how he becomes your emotional anchor, not because he's trying to fix everything, but because he wants you to know you're not alone. It's often in small, unspoken gestures that his feelings reveal themselves. When he sees you're having a hard day, he subtly adjusts his energy. He might speak softer, slow down his pace, or simply stay near without needing to fill the silence. He pays attention to your moods, not to analyze you, but to be in sync with what you need. If you need space, he gives it. If you need comfort, he offers it. That's how a man's affection matures. He becomes attentive to your emotional rhythm, not just your physical presence. You'll also notice that he begins to protect you in social situations. He won't let others disrespect you, even in subtle ways. If someone interrupts you, he'll gently redirect the conversation back to you. If you're being overlooked, he'll find a way to make sure your voice is heard. His pride in you becomes quiet but powerful. He doesn't need to dominate or prove anything. His protection is soft yet steady, like a calm shield that lets you relax around him. That's when emotional safety begins to grow, because you start to feel like you can be yourself without constantly guarding your heart. What's truly beautiful is that his protection extends beyond moments of crisis. It shows up in everyday respect. He doesn't play with your emotions, doesn't disappear to test your patience, and doesn't confuse you with mixed signals. He starts to prioritize honesty because he understands that uncertainty breeds anxiety. And when a man truly cares, he wants to be your peace, not your puzzle. He'll make sure you never have to question where you stand with him, even if he hasn't yet confessed his feelings. His consistency becomes a form of protection too. It's his way of telling you, you can trust me, without needing to say it outright. There's also an internal shift that happens within him. He becomes more cautious about the kind of energy he brings into your life. He won't vent his frustration on you or unload his issues carelessly. He tries to bring calm, not chaos. That's because when a man truly feels connected to you, he sees your emotional state as intertwined with his own. Hurting you would hurt him. So he chooses patience, gentleness, and respect. And while he may not openly declare his affection, his actions begin to speak a silent truth. He's invested in your well-being. That's how you know his feelings run deep, when he becomes a guardian of your heart, not because he wants to own it, but because he already holds it quietly and carefully as something precious he's not ready to lose. When a man secretly has deep feelings for you, he finds ways to be close without making it too obvious. It's as if he's drawn toward you by something he can't quite explain. His presence starts to appear naturally in your life. He shows up at the same events, offers to help with something small, or casually joins a plan you mentioned. But none of it feels forced. It's not about chasing or demanding attention. It's about creating opportunities to be around you, to feel connected in a way that words can't yet express. Being near you gives him a quiet sense of satisfaction, a closeness he's not yet ready to label, but deeply wants to maintain. You'll notice it in how he subtly integrates himself into your world. Maybe he learns about your favorite cafe and just happens to suggest meeting there. Or he asks for your opinion on something he could easily decide himself, just to have an excuse to talk. When a man's feelings deepen, he doesn't want to risk overwhelming you with a confession that might change everything. So he lets his actions do the talking. Proximity becomes his way of nurturing the bond. He finds comfort in being part of your daily rhythm, even if it's in small ways, helping you carry something, waiting after a meeting to walk you out, or texting at the exact time you'd be getting off work. There's a tenderness in the way he positions himself in your life. He wants to matter without intruding. He doesn't just show up physically, he becomes emotionally present. If you mention something you're working on, he'll check in about it later. If you talk about a problem, he won't disappear after offering advice. He'll follow up to see how it turned out. This kind of consistency is a quiet signal of care. He wants to be the person who shows up not only when things are exciting, but when they're ordinary. That's because closeness for him is about emotional intimacy, not just time spent together. Sometimes he'll volunteer to help with things he has no real reason to. Offering to fix something, accompany you somewhere, or simply be a part of your plans. It's his way of saying, I want to be involved in your world. Even if he never says those words aloud, when a man truly cares, helping you becomes a source of joy. He doesn't see it effort, he sees it as connection. And though he may frame it as casual kindness, it's a window into something deeper. The more he feels, the more he wants to support, protect, and participate in your life. This pull to be near you is often subtle but unmistakable. You might notice how his body language leans toward you even in group settings, how he finds excuses to start conversations, or how he lingers a little longer when it's time to leave. He's not trying to make a move. He's trying to feel close enough to you to build trust, to make sure you sense his care before he reveals his heart. His presence becomes steady, not pushy. You can feel that he's there for you, not around you. And when you start to share more of yourself, he leans in, both literally and emotionally. He asks follow-up questions, listens without distraction, and creates an energy that feels safe and attentive. That's how emotional closeness is built, through a steady exchange of presence, through small moments that accumulate into something meaningful. The truth is, a man who secretly has deep feelings for you won't stay far. His desire to be close is not about control or fear of losing you. It's about longing to connect. He may not have the words yet, but his actions quietly speak being near you feels right. And even before he confesses, his nearness becomes his way of saying everything his heart hasn't yet dared to express. When a man secretly harbors deep feelings for you, his eyes often speak before his words ever do. There's a certain softness, a lingering warmth in the way he looks at you, almost as if he's trying to memorize the moment. You might catch him watching you when you're not looking, his gaze steady yet gentle, filled with something he's not ready to admit. It's not the look of fleeting attraction. It's the quiet intensity of someone who's emotionally captivated. His eyes search your face not for perfection, but for familiarity, for the comfort that draws him back to you again and again. He notices you in ways others don't. The way your expression changes when you're deep in thought, the sparkle in your eyes when you laugh, the slight sadness that appears when something touches you. His gaze becomes a reflection of his growing affection. He's observing not out of curiosity but out of care, as though he wants to understand the language of your emotions without you needing to explain. His attention to your face, your gestures, the tone of your voice, it all becomes his way of tuning in to your essence. When a man feels deeply, his eyes stop seeing and start feeling. Sometimes you'll sense it when you're speaking to him. His eye contact lasts a little longer than necessary, but not in a way that feels uncomfortable. It's as if he's listening not only with his ears, but through his gaze. You feel his attention anchored on you, like the rest of the world has faded into the background. That's the power of unspoken connection, when silence says more than conversation ever could. In those moments, he's revealing something vulnerable, letting you glimpse the affection he's trying to contain. There are also moments when his eyes give him away unintentionally. When someone else captures your attention, his gaze shifts ever so slightly, watchful, maybe even a little protective. Or when you walk into a room, his expression changes instantly, softening in a way he can't control. It's almost instinctive, the way his energy shifts toward you, as if your presence alters his atmosphere. You may not always catch him staring, but you'll feel it. The warmth of being noticed, the quiet gravity of being the focus of someone's unspoken affection. And yet, it's not just about how he looks at you. It's how he looks through you, how he tries to see the real you beneath what everyone else sees. His gaze lingers when you talk about something meaningful. He notices the passion in your eyes when you speak of your dreams, or the way they dim when you talk about something painful. That's when you know his feelings are real, because love begins where attention deepens. He's not just admiring how you look. He's drawn to the emotions behind your expression, to the depth of who you are. His eyes often carry traces of hesitation too, a quiet conflict between wanting to express what he feels and fearing what might happen if he does. Sometimes when your eyes meet, there's a pause, a heartbeat suspended in the air. It's the kind of look that holds questions, emotions, and confessions all at once. In that instant, you can feel the honesty of what's unspoken. It's as if his gaze is whispering, "I see you. I feel something I can't yet say." Even when he tries to hide it, his eyes will betray him. They'll light up when he sees you, soften when you're near, and darken when you walk away. It's in these quiet exchanges that you begin to sense his truth. Because when a man's feelings run deep, his eyes stop being just eyes. They become a mirror of his heart, reflecting the tenderness he's still learning how to put into words. And long before he confesses, his gaze will already have told you everything you need to know. When a man secretly has deep feelings for you, his body starts to speak the language his lips haven't yet found the courage to express. It happens without his awareness. His tone softens when he talks to you, his gestures mirror yours, and his rhythm unconsciously aligns with yours. This is not a performance, it's an instinctive form of emotional synchronization. When he's around you, he subtly mirrors your energy because connection creates resonance. If you lean in, he does too. If you speak softly, he lowers his voice to match. When you smile, he mirrors it almost instantly. These little reflections aren't just coincidences. They're his subconscious revealing how attuned he is to you. Mirroring is the mind's quiet way of saying, "I feel safe with you." It's a phenomenon rooted in empathy. But when attraction deepens into genuine feeling, it becomes even more powerful. A man who likes you deeply will begin to pick up your habits without realizing it. Maybe he starts using your phrases, matching your pacing, or developing a similar sense of humor. It's as though spending time with you subtly rewires the way he communicates. He doesn't just hear you, he starts to move like you. That's emotional harmony in motion. This mirroring extends beyond physical gestures. It shows in emotional alignment too. When you're excited, his energy rises. When you're quiet, his demeanor softens. He becomes emotionally responsive to your state of being. It's not about trying to manipulate or impress. It's about connection guiding behavior. His emotional radar becomes tuned to yours. He starts noticing when you withdraw, sensing when you need reassurance, even if you haven't said a word. That's the kind of intuitive awareness that only appears when feelings go deeper than surface attraction. You'll also feel it in how conversations flow. There's an ease, a rhythm that feels unforced. He listens without interrupting, adds to your thoughts rather than overpowering them, and seems genuinely engaged in what you're saying. You start to notice that time passes differently with him. Conversations stretch, silences feel comfortable, laughter comes easily. That's what happens when two emotional frequencies begin to align. It's the unspoken chemistry that isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional harmony. When a man mirrors you, it's not just about attraction, it's about connection that seeks balance. His behavior becomes a reflection of his emotional investment. He wants you to feel understood, to feel seen, even if he can't yet confess how much you mean to him. That's why he unconsciously adapts. It's his way of meeting you where you are, showing, without words, that he's emotionally in step with you. There's also a deeper layer to this mirroring that goes beyond behavior. Over time, You might notice how his values and perspectives start aligning with yours. The things that matter to you begin to matter to him. He listens when you talk about what you believe in, and slowly you start seeing him make changes that reflect understanding, not imitation. That's emotional influence, the kind that comes only from someone whose heart is genuinely moved. And yet, even though he doesn't plan it, this mirroring becomes the space where intimacy quietly grows. Every gesture, every shared laugh, every mirrored movement builds a sense of belonging. It's like your connection has its own rhythm, one you both start dancing to without realizing it. He's drawn into your orbit not because he's trying to become you, but because his affection pulls him closer to your emotional wavelength. So, when you notice that a man starts to reflect your mannerisms, when his tone harmonizes with yours, when his reactions seem perfectly attuned to your emotions, know that it's not random. It's his heart syncing with yours in silence. Long before he gathers the courage to say how he feels, his presence will already be echoing your energy, quietly revealing that he's emotionally intertwined with you in ways words could never fully explain. When a man secretly has deep feelings for you, a certain kind of jealousy begins to surface. But it's not loud, possessive, or controlling. It's quiet, restrained, and often hidden beneath calm behavior. It's not about ownership, it's about vulnerability. Because when a man truly cares, the thought of losing his place in your world stirs something deep within him. He might not say it, but you can feel it in small shifts. His tone changes slightly when you mention another man, his responses become shorter, or his attention grows more focused, as if trying to read between your words. His jealousy doesn't come from insecurity. It comes from caring too much and fearing he might not have the right to show it. It's subtle. He won't question you or make demands, but he'll become more aware of how others treat you. If another man compliments you, he may laugh it off, yet there's a flicker in his expression, something unspoken that disappears as quickly as it came. That's how men often express hidden emotion through restraint. Because deep down, he knows he doesn't have a claim, but his heart reacts anyway. His jealousy becomes the quiet proof that he's emotionally invested, that he sees you as someone special, not someone he wants to control, but someone he doesn't want to lose. He'll often respond to this feeling not with confrontation, but with effort. He starts to show up a little more, initiate more conversations, offer help more often, or take extra care to make you laugh. It's his way of saying, "I'm still here. I matter too." Instead of pulling away, he leans in gently, trying to reinforce the connection without crossing boundaries. You'll notice he becomes slightly more intentional with his presence, a little more expressive with his attention. That's the kind of jealousy that comes from love, not fear, the kind that motivates instead of destroys. Sometimes his jealousy appears in the way he observes the men around you. He pays attention to how they interact with you, not out of mistrust, but curiosity. He's quietly comparing himself, wondering if they make you smile more easily, if they occupy a space he hasn't been brave enough to claim. It's a silent battle between what he feels and what he allows himself to show. And yet, his restraint says more about his character than his words ever could. Because when a man's affection is genuine, he won't try to limit your freedom. He wants you to be happy, even if it stings to see someone else catch your attention. There's also a tender side to his jealousy. It makes him more protective, not in a way that suffocates, but in a way that honors his care for you. If he senses someone treating you disrespectfully, he'll step in without hesitation. If he hears something that could hurt your feelings, he shields you from it subtly. His emotions might remain unspoken, but his instinct to protect reveals everything. It's the quiet storm of love, contained, composed, but undeniably there. And beneath it all, there's a kind of longing in this gentle jealousy. It's the ache of wanting to be chosen, but not wanting to pressure you. It's the internal conflict between giving you space and wishing you'd see his effort. You can see it in the way he stays a little longer after everyone else leaves, or how his eyes follow you when you laugh with someone else. He's silently hoping that one day your gaze will return to him with the same warmth he's been carrying for you all along. This kind of jealousy is not about control. It's about care restrained by respect. It's what happens when a man feels deeply but chooses patience over possession. So when you sense that subtle shift, that quiet discomfort, he tries to hide, understand it for what it is, the mark of someone whose emotions run deep. Someone who values your happiness so much that he'd rather protect your freedom than risk losing your trust. His jealousy isn't a red flag. It's the heartbeat of love he hasn't yet spoken aloud.